I don't know if we're live or not. I don't have the live button. Do you? Okay. Okay. Hey, y'all. This is Casey with Pizzazz, and I am here with my good friend, Sarah Williams, and I am super excited to be interviewing her today because, y'all, she has got a new book out. A new book! Woo, 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 woo. She is a published author.
Published author. Casey has a friend that's a published author.
I do. So I want to just, for those of y'all that don't know her, I want you to hear a little bit about her story. I want you to hear how she's helped me, how she helps a whole lot of people, and I think this might open your mind to something you may want to do. It's not for everybody, but you're going to be surprised at how a box subscription can really, it can fit all kind of different, I don't even want to say businesses really, because sometimes it's just a side hustle. It's just a hobby. It's just so we're going to chat about that too. So as y'all know, a big part of our business, the biggest part of our business now, which is crazy. Things have shifted over the years. Used to, the biggest part of our business was our classes, and we still do our kids classes and adult classes. But now the biggest part of our business is our online membership. And with that membership comes boxes. And so we ship out boxes that go along with our lettering club. And when we first started this, when I first started learning how to do all the online stuff, me and Sarah were, we were learning together, but she had already started a little bit of a subscription box within your business. So tell us about just your beginning of what your subscription boxes look like.
Yeah, so I had a gift shop. I was a local brick and mortar store that you would walk into and buy mostly gift items for yourself or a gift for someone else. And so what I was seeing when I had the gift shop was I was seeing the same customer come in about like once a month, and they'd be like, oh, I saw that on Facebook and I was sold out. Oh, I saw that last week on your social media, but I was sold out. And so I kept trying to figure out a way to create something so that my regular customer would feel like the VIP of my business and they wouldn't have to worry about me being sold out. So that's how the idea come. Now I was selling monogrammed everything. Okay. Like if you wanted it personalized, I would personalize it for you. I was lasering, I was embroidering, I was vinyling. Like I had figured out all the ways to personalize everything. And I was the go-to for that. So naturally my subscription box became the monogram box. And so I started that, and I really didn't know anything about that. Like there wasn't small businesses doing subscription boxes back when I started in 2017. And so I really had to figure all of that out myself. And it was stressful. There was a lot of tech involved. There was a lot of logistics involved. And still at this point, Casey, I had not sold things online yet. I was just selling in person. So now I had to figure out how to put things online and ship and fulfill and all of those things. So that's really how I got started.
And when you first started, you were shipping, but you were also really catering to your local customer. So it started with, hey, I'm going to do this box, but it's going to be these local people who already know me. Yeah. And then it grew to online, and then beyond and beyond.
Well, the thing about it was I probably would have only made it for my local customer, but I had to put it online in order to create the reoccurring payments. I couldn't do that in store. So it forced me to go online in that moment. And that was the only product I had online. So naturally, all my subscribers in the beginning were local. I had hundreds of local subscribers, and they would order and they would come and they would pick it up. And some of them would have it shipped because they couldn't get over to my shop before I closed for the day or whatever. And so that was kind of my first introduction. And I'm glad because I figured out how to ship. I figured out how to fulfill 50 boxes at a time or 100 boxes at a time. Because once I really started to build my audience outside of my local area, that's when things really exploded for me.
I love that because I think that sometimes when people hear anything about a subscription box, they immediately go to shipping to the masses and outside their local community. But if you think of how you started with your local, I think that's a little bit more doable for some people to get started. Like, hey, I already have these people who are, that I know that would probably like this. Like, get started small and then go a lot bigger. I love that. So for y'all listening, so Sarah had been doing this, her box for a year before I even met her. And then, I was going through all the different things of how we were going to set up our membership, and we decided to do a box. And what I love is that Sarah, back then, she was doing this, but she wasn't teaching other people to do it. She was doing it on her own. So I start this thing, don't know anything about it, like nothing about it. Wish I had a coach. Like, if I would have had a coach to show me all of the ins and outs, there were so many mistakes I would not have made. So, for example, when the first time that we ever did this, we took them all to the post office. We had 167 packages. And I was like, I don't know, like, I don't think you're going to come to my house and pick this up. So we'll just go to the post office. And I remember standing in that line and them scanning each one. And I think they had to like type in the area code for each one and put it down. And at about like 50, I'm like feeling the line grow behind me and feeling the stares at me.
You could crawl underneath the cabinet so people wouldn't be looking at you.
The lady who worked there, she was like, you know, there's some other ways to do this. I'm like, no, I don't know. And she's like, we need to set you up. And, but anyway, so they keep scanning. I'm looking at my time. And I'm like, I've got to be at the studio to teach a class. I had to call an employee in to come stand in line at the post office so they could continue scanning and typing in. So I remember just leaving and turning around like, sorry, y'all, sorry. And, leaving. And then when the employee that stood there came down to the studio, she had this receipt. She was like, oh my gosh. And this receipt went on and on. It was like 10 times bigger than her body. And she was like, I have never. And I'm like, okay, we're figuring something out. Like, I don't know what we're figuring out.
I remember talking to you after that. I'm like, you did what?
And then Sarah gives me some really good advice on different services to use that you can click one button and it'll print all of your labels. I'm like, oh my gosh, because not only were we taking them to the post office, we didn't even have them on sticky labels. Like they were sticky, but they were like, we felt like we still needed to put another piece of tape over them because like waterproof them. I don't know. It was crazy town in the beginning, but we did it. Like I'm proud of our hustle, but goodness gracious, we could have saved so much time. And so Sarah, even back then, is telling me these hacks that saved so much time and effort and money. And that was, that's just like what you would do. You'd be like, okay, let me tell you this. Like this is use this service. This is going to make it a lot easier. And you've always been super generous with just sharing your knowledge. And so over the years, that has turned into your memberships, teaching other people. So now tell people who are listening kind of what you do in the online space for people who may be like me or maybe just starting something as a hobby that need a coach.
Yeah. So after working, with Casey, and we would jump on the phone early in the morning, we would jump on Zoom and I would walk her through something. And I always loved helping you. And there were so many people that I was helping. So many people like, where do you buy packaging? Where do you source? How do you source products? Like, what do you do for this? And I would just be like, I don't have enough hours in the day for this. Like I've got this subscription box business that's growing out of control that I got to go pack and ship stuff. Like I can't just be talking to you all day. But that really turned into me starting a coaching membership because I realized in those moments that Casey's talking about, I do have a lot of knowledge. I have spent years figuring this out. And if I could share that with other people, it could streamline them. They wouldn't have to go through all the headaches that I went through or that Casey went through, standing in the line at post office or figuring out how to put reoccurring payments on our website. And so I built a coaching program called Launch Your Box. And that was my first membership. And that was really for anyone that was thinking of starting, launching, or growing a subscription. And over those years of me working with thousands of subscription box owners, it developed into a second membership, which is called Scale Your Box. So these are people that have already launched their subscription. They typically have over 100 subscribers. And now we talk about what we need to do to scale that box, because what gets you to the launch point, and Casey knows this firsthand, doesn't get you to scale. And so we have to do things a little bit different. We just start to up level our business, but there's room for people just getting started. And there's room for people that are really wanting to scale. And now I also have a mastermind. I have a podcast called the Launch Your Box Podcast. And it was actually the stats from my podcast are ultimately what helped me get a book deal, because I don't have a large following, Casey. I don't have, the big Instagram numbers, the big Facebook numbers, but I have huge podcast numbers. We have over 400,000 downloads on the podcast in a relatively short time. And that's where people were learning from me. And that helped me secure a book deal and a book advance. And I never even thought, I just thought I was going to be making cute monogram things and sending them out in the world. And now, I have a book sharing all that knowledge from start to finish. In this book, it's my story of how I started the business, not knowing anything, having so much self-doubt. Who am I to be starting a subscription box? And why would people want to give me their credit card? And why would people want to subscribe to what I'm doing? And how do I show up in my business? Because I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way who I was. And why would anybody want to show up and watch me? I went out in the early stages of my business. And you know what, Casey? I still go through it. I go through it as I was writing this book. I go through it as I'm showing up and launching this book out in the world. There's so much, I think, for women that we put ourselves through, right? We really overthink a lot of things. We really overanalyze a lot of things in ourselves. We are our worst critic. We are our own worst enemy most of the times. And so a lot of the journey for me was how I was overcoming those self-inflicting wounds all the time. And every time something would pop back up and say, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not capable, you're not smart enough, I had to tell myself, yes, I was. And I had to tell myself, I can do this. If I've done this, I can do the next thing, and I can do the next thing, and I can do the next thing. And I'm talking about all of that in the book. And one of the most special things for me is talking about the people that I've helped along the way. And I get to do that in this book. And Casey is one of those people. And I featured her in chapter 5 of this book. Chapter 5 of the book is called Cultivate Community. And it's one of the most important things that we can do as small business owners. And you guys know Casey, and you know how she's created a community around not only her membership, but her box is part of her membership. So she's created this whole experience with lettering, the projects that you guys do. You get all of those tutorials from Casey, but you also get the physical components, and she's married those two very, very well. And that's what makes your membership and your subscription just a great combination. You have the teaching, you have the how-to, and you have the products to do it with. And you've created this amazing community of people that show up and they don't think they can letter, right? I don't think I can letter, but when I get your traceables out and I use the techniques that you show in your membership, I can letter, and it's something that I never thought I could do. And one of the things I write about in this book, in chapter 5, I talk about different ways that you can create a community. And one of those is holding events. I'm going to share this. So I know your audience knows a little bit, but will you share a little bit about how you put on these events for your members that really help cultivate community?
Yeah, so we do paid and free events. So our free is our meetup. So we try to have meetups every couple of once to 2 times a year, and those are usually at our studio, which we will soon have to figure out another place. They're not our downtown studio, but they've been at our downtown studio. So for this past time, it was so special because this past time we combined our free event with our paid event. Okay. So our free event was Friday night. So anybody could come in. It was at our studio. We did a project. Everybody got to see each other. All the ladies.
Are these for subscribers?
For subscribers, yes. Okay. For subscribers. And it was free for subscribers. If they want to bring a friend, they can. But anyway, they got to just see people in real life, like people that they've been seeing on the internet. They see their names. They get to see in real life. A lot of that is rekindling friendships because maybe they saw each other at the last meetup. But a lot of that is meeting new friends too. And so we just did a fun project together, lettering project in our hometown. I always like to have little fun surprises. And so we have a dam that you can walk to that's just pretty, and an old cotton gin. And so we had desserts by the dam down there. They walked down there and got desserts, and it's just a time of being together. Like it's not about the art, and that's what I told them. Friday was our meetup for our free event. And then Saturday we had a paid retreat type thing. And I told him, I'm like, the goal this week, like we're going to make great art. We're going to do some lettering, but the goal is not to make great art. Like the goal is to connect with the people around the table, like the people who are at your table, because what we have seen is like it's just so it's so powerful to see when people meet in real life how, I have a text thread of some ladies who are, they call everybody the bros, the beach retreat originals, who went to one of our first events, the bros. Yeah. They named themselves that. They were at one of our first events that are like best friends 2 years later on text and praying for each other and encouraging each other. And that kind of bond and friendship and community, like it happens when you do the real life meetups and events and things like that. And it also just shows you like that this is so much more than a box. Like this is called one box at a time. Every box is so much more than a box or a product. Your box, your product your monogram box is so much more than just, like I got a cute little something. It gives people confidence. Sometimes they have things that they can gift to other people. It treats their self. Like they're always deeper than just the product. So,
and it's so fun to see, like, if you're out somewhere, you live in Alabama, I live in Texas, and you see somebody wearing one of the shirts that came in my box, you instantly know, oh, they're a subscriber. And there's a connection there. There's instant connection there. Yes. My sister told me yesterday that she saw somebody wearing one of my sweatshirts. Yeah. And it was one of my sweatshirts that was in the September box, the Focus on the Good hoodie. And she said, I went up to her and I said, hey, I like your sweatshirt. And she was like, oh, my mom bought me this box thing. And she was like, my sister does that. And like she instantly knew that it was mine. And it was just such a cool connection point that she would have never talked to her. She would have never gone up to her. And I think the same thing is where any community that you can create, whether that's the membership and the meetups and doing the activities that you guys do, or just being part of something that's bigger than yourselves. I mean, let's be honest, Casey, that's how we met. Mm-hmm. We were taking a course.
Yeah.
And there were 8 of us. We were taking a course and we all decided that, hey, let's do this course together so that we had somebody to hold us accountable. And we got in this little Facebook group and we all had one little thing in common that kind of bound us together. But that happened in 2018. And if you look at us now, we vacation together. Mm-hmm. We literally talk every single day in our group chat. We're on Zoom every month, catching up with each other. We're giving each other business advice. We're helping through problems in our business that we're all working on at the same time. We're dealing with our friendships, our families, our life events. Like we are so connected, and it started from being part of something that was bigger than ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we have this lifelong friendship that will forever change our lives. Like I wrote in the back of the book, Casey, I'm going to read this because
here you go. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to read this. Don't cry.
I think I know what you're going to read. I'm not going to.
I wrote to the Creative Club. That's what the 8 of us call ourselves. We're not the bros, but we're the Creative Club. To the Creative Club, my long lost sisters, my biz besties, the ones that always empower me, lift me up, and care deeply for me, both personally and professionally. Christy, Tamara, Heidi, Casey, Gretchen, Cindy, and Brandy, you have been the most priceless gifts in my life that I never knew I needed. Business is personal, period. Having people in your life that understand both parts of you are incredibly powerful for your growth.
I mean,
yeah.
It does make me want to cry because it's just true. Like the community, and again, it goes back to community. Like we met in an online format, but the community is what goes so much deeper. Same thing for membership. Same thing for sending out a box. It's so much if you allow it to be.
Yes.
Like it could be stale and just send dog food and not worry about it. But if you allow it to be, like I'm just randomly. There's so many different boxes. But if you allow it to be a community, it's so much deeper and so much better. And speaking of random boxes, tell everybody some of the variety of boxes you've seen from your members. I think that's going to get people's brain going.
Yeah, well, there's so many in the creative space, right? So I would say, I would almost tell you that a third or half of my members are in the creative space. You know, Casey's got a lettering box that goes out with different projects, but I also have another amazing letterer in there that does a whole box around wax seals and lettering, like the envelopes and putting the wax seals. And she sends you the stamps and the wax, and it's so amazing. So you could take something like lettering, like Casey does, and do it 10 different ways. There's tier trays, there's door hangers, there's painting of the month, there's glass. Our friend Cindy does the Art Shattered and sends you glass and a project every month. Like there's so many things creatively. There's fabric, we've got quilt clubs, we've got serger clubs, we've got all kinds of fabric related, Mod Podge, Decoupage, everything you can podge. Like there are so many subscriptions in that crafting space because it does help you build that connection with someone when you're teaching them how to do something. And then if you look at the other side of the spectrum, we've got the guinea pig box. We've got the women dentist box. We've got the Lunar Maven box, which is about astrology. Like there, I could just like rattle off like my box, the monogram box. We've got Act Live Life, which is about working out and motivational t-shirts. We've got the snooze box, which is a pajama subscription. There's so many things. The Literary Book Club, I interviewed her yesterday. She's in the book as well. She sends out a beautiful vintage book, like a classic with a gorgeous cover. And then she puts probably like 5 or 6 little different gifts in there. And it says open on page 45, open on page 182, open on page 232, open when you finish the book. And it's something that goes along with that exact page in the book. And it's an incredible experience, but that's what building a subscription box is. It's creating an experience and marrying that with a community. And that's how these businesses have all exploded with the formula that I'm creating, because we can talk about all those things, but I'm going to give you real tactical, strategical ways to start, launch, and grow your subscription box business in this book. And along the way, I'm helping you work through the self-doubt. I'm helping you see that you can do this too. Because Casey knows that I say this all the time when I get interviewed, but I'm not special. I'm not any different. I'm a small town Texas girl that decided I was going to do something and nobody was going to tell me that I wasn't. And I just kept at it and I kept figuring it out and I kept working through the hurdles that were thrown in front of me. And I've built this incredible business with thousands of monthly subscribers that I just get to love on every single month. I get to curate a beautiful box for them that makes them feel special, that makes them feel put together, that makes them feel like they've done something for themselves. And I feel so honored every single month to be able to get to do something like that. It lights me up as much as it does them when they open that box. And that's what building a business is about.
Yeah, I agree. We love picking out what we're going to do with inside the box and packing it. And then we open it as if we're the customer to see if they're going to be excited when they open it. It's so fun. It's so fun. And also what I love is my daughter, Chloe, 16 years old. So
Chloe.
She is, she's not trying to have a big business. She's 16. She needs a job though. Cause I'm like, okay, you got a car. We're going to, you got to have a job. She has no time to have a real job. She does gymnastics 3 days a week. She was doing volleyball 4 days a week. Plus she always wants to go to every football game. She wants all her social life.
She's a social butterfly, right?
Yes. So I was helping her brainstorm through different things, and she really landed on. She was like, everybody's always asking me about Bible journaling stuff. That's something I love too. And so I helped her with brainstorming some different ideas, and she now has her own box subscription, the Bible journaling box. She's 16. She 100% does this on her own. Like today, she's about to come in here to the studio to finish packing her boxes. She picks it out. She makes a video about it. She uploads the video to YouTube. She gets the QR code. Like she does the things, but it's not crazy hard. She's 16. Yeah. Yes, she has a guide. Like I'm guiding her a little bit, but she's doing it herself, and I love that because she's able to see that she can create income doing something that she loves and something that she is fun for her.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I don't know. I'm just excited to show her that as a model. She might not always want to do it, but it's a great thing just to know that you can create income if needed. You don't always have to rely on somebody else to give you a job.
Yes. And I love that about Chloe because she saw how the business worked with you. She has been there helping you pack boxes and doing all the things in your business. And when she decided she wanted a car and she had to have money for a car, she's like, oh, well, this is how my mom makes money. I think I can make money this way too. And she started something that she's passionate about, that she knew people wanted. Because here's the thing, like, we're constantly building an audience. She's not thinking she's building an audience, but she had an audience of people that she networked with consistently regarding Bible journaling. She was able to turn that audience, our network, into her first audience for her subscription box. And she just has to keep working it and growing it. How many subscribers does she have?
She started at 75. It's dropped a little bit right now, but we're going to maybe try to relaunch it here in a little bit. But yeah, so she out the gate started with that. And so
75 subscribers for a 16-year-old. That's a heck of a car payment, girl.
I know. She had a good down payment that she was able to put down. And I was like, girl, like I was not able to do this when I was 16. Like I didn't even think about it.
I didn't even have 75 subscribers. When I started, I had 44. So Chloe's killing me too. So I love it.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been really fun. So anyway, if you, we're going to close this. If you tell me who you think this book is for, if somebody's watching this and they're like, okay,
this book is for anyone that's been thinking about starting their business. There is so much information about building an audience, sourcing product, finding your niche. Like even if it's not a subscription box, but this is you're going to want a subscription box when you read this, because I'm going to tell you all the benefits of having a subscription box. But this book is for anybody that's been thinking about starting a business. How are you going to get there? How do you feel motivated? How do you feel inspired? This is for you. This is for anyone that has a subscription box business, because sometimes all we have to do is go back to the basics. Mm-hmm. And I need to do that over and over again. I just talked to Brittany with the Brain Fetty box on my page, and she's like, you're right. Like, I just need to go back and I need to do the things that I knew to do in the beginning, because we lose sight of them along the way. So it's for you. If you need some inspiration, if you've really been thinking about creating some additional income, maybe that's a side hustle. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it's like Chloe and you just want to get a new car. I can help you do that. And it's literally $25 and I can help you do that with the one box at a time. And inside here, you're going to be inspired by so many stories like Casey in chapter 5, and Stacy Collins is in chapter 5. You know, Stacy Collins, like there's so many people that have built their businesses literally one box at a time.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for your generosity always. And now the generosity that you've shared in this book, because I know when you first started writing this book, and I remember you saying that somebody gave you the advice to not hold anything back.
Yeah.
And you put it all in there. So I think that's just so valuable to know. It's not like you've got a few secrets you're trying to hide. You really laid out all of your knowledge in this written form that works, like you were saying, almost as a workbook, to go in, to highlight, to circle, to remember, to have a step-by-step guide is what this book is. So thank you for doing that.
Yes. Thank you, Casey, for having me. And just dream big, and nothing is too far.
And tell people where to go to find the box. We'll put a link to it.
You can go over to Amazon.com and just type in one box at a time, or you can go over to my landing page. I have a bonus, a beginner bundle bonus, and you can go over to oneboxatatimebook.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Sarah. This was fun.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you soon.
Yeah.